Namaste everyone and very warm greetings to the honorable delegates of the Government of Telangana, the Open Data Telangana community as well as all the esteemed mentors of code basics. Today I am going to present before you some meaningful insights into the current economic scenario of the state of Telangana through the eyes of real data. This is my first project with real world data, and I am extremely thankful to the Code Basics and Open Data Telangana team for giving us the golden opportunity to utilize our knowledge and skills for the growth of the nation. I am extremely sorry for not being able to do a face-to-face presentation due to some last minute technical issues. So let's begin. So what are the basic project activities I am going to do? So first we are going to analyze the data provided by the Open Data Telangana and TS-IPAS bodies of the Telangana government, which are mainly based on the revenue, vehicle sales and the investment data of the last 4 years in the state of Telangana. So from those data we are basically going to analyze the trend and patterns of various economic parameters, which will give us an idea of which sectors and which districts are doing well in the economic arena and which one needs more attention. So starting off from that, we will basically land down to what are the areas of improvement and what are the recommendations or initiatives that needs to be taken in those areas. So before diving right into the analysis, so here are some fun facts and pain points of the present economy of Telangana. So as you can see here, the GDP stands around 14 lakh crores as of 23-24 financial year, and which is 9th in the entire country, sorry. And the GDP per capita rank is at 6th, which is commendable. Apart from that, the GDP growth rate is also very decent, which is 11.2%. Coming to the sectors of employment, the agriculture is the primary employment sector in the state, which accounts for more than 45%, followed by the service and industrial sector at 33 and 21% respectively, whereas the unemployment rate stands at 7.4%. So next comes what are the points of concern for the Telangana government regarding the economy. So first of all, as we can see here, the government debt stands at a staggering 25.29% of gross state production or GSDP. Next, there is a budget balance or deficit of minus 52,000 crores and above, which is also a matter of concern. So it basically indicates that the state government needs to find new avenues for revenue so that these gaps can be met, and the state government has to rely less and less on the central government debt. And also coming to the revenue deficit, there is a 53,000 crores which which needs to be reduced and minimized to the as much as possible. Next, let us check what are the current government schemes and initiatives already in place in Telangana in various sectors of economy. So first of all, in the real estate sector, we have Dharani for fast track and easy administration of land and its registration process. Next, we have the Housing for Poor scheme, in which the economically backward sections of the state are being offered by the government a 2 BHK flat or a land with residence, depending upon the area, whether it is rural or urban area. Next, what comes is the Ritu Bandhu scheme and Ritu Bima scheme. So these are put in place to ensure that the investment requirements of agriculture are being met and the farmers' families are being protected in case of the death of the farmer. So apart from that, we have Mission Kakatiya, which is being utilized to enhance the irrigation power of the state, and as well as renovation of tanks and reservoirs. Coming to the education and skill enhancement sector, we have SoftNet and Task. So these two organizations basically provide distance education and works for the skill enhancement of the graduates of the state, so that they can efficiently perform in the service sector and contribute to the GDP. Last but not the least, we have T-Hub to promote startup culture among the young entrepreneurs of the state, as well as the T-Fiber, which basically is intended to digitalize the different procedures of the state and provide high speed data connectivity. So what are the basically the important impacts of these schemes in the last 10 years? So it is not possible to go for detailed enumeration, but what we can basically see is that in the last 10 years, the Telangana state has achieved a 155.7%, which is quite commendable as compared to the average of 118% in other states of India on an average. The next thing is that the gross irrigated area has increased by around 117%. Which is very good news, because the majority of the population of the state depends on agriculture. So and it is a very crucial point from the point of economy, and also the agricultural sector has shown a positive growth rate of a staggering 37%. So coming to the skilled workforce, which we have already discussed, the skill enhancement program, it now basically contributes 62% of the gross state GDP, and also the TS IPAS, which has been doing its work efficiently and giving a staggering amount of 2,500 units of new investment approval worth of 20,000 crores. So last but not the least, we have T-Hub, which is competing against the 55 incubators at the state national level, and has come up on the top and has been awarded by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So I have basically prepared 3 dashboards, one for revenue, one for vehicle sales, and the third one for the investment. I have posted it here to have a granular view of what is actually going on in the current scenario. So as you can see here, from 2019 to 2022, the state has achieved a whopping 360% rise in revenue, which is a combined of e-challan and document registration. Followed by that, what we are observing is that the popularity of e-challan has increased throughout the year, as you can see here, as compared to the document registration, due to its convenience and many other factors. And also the top 5 districts, mainly Rangareddy, Medchal, Malkazgiri, Hyderabad, Sangareddy, Hanuman Konda, and so on. These districts have contributed more than 80% of the net revenue collections of the state. So now coming to the question from the management. So the management wants to know what are the who are the top districts when it comes to revenue registration growth. So I have already discussed it in the dashboard itself. So next come that what is the highest percentage rise in the revenue, documentation revenue, from the period of 2019 to 2022. So these are basically the 5 districts where the rise of documentation revenue has been the highest. So these are Mulugu, Adilabad, Bhadradri, Kothagudem, Mancherial, and Karimnagar. And for the other states, other districts, sorry. So we can see that the e-challan count has crossed the documentation registration count. So this implies that in these districts, mainly Rangareddy, Hyderabad, Khammam, Hanuman Kunda and Yadadri Bhuvanagiri, the popularity of online registration process is higher than the offline registration process, which is understandable because the literacy rate is naturally higher in this region, because the most of the people are from the service and business sectors and they are more conversant with the online registration process as compared to the other districts like Jaktial and Jangaon, Kamaredi and so on. So what this implies that there needs to be a initiative to digitally educate the people of these districts so that they can also opt for the benefits of e-challan revenue. And so as I have already discussed, is there any alteration of stamp challan count and documentation registration count pattern? Yes, obviously there has been a change, and the online document registration has been a more popular channel in the state of Telangana, especially in the top 5 districts, which collects around 80% of the revenue. So as you can see here, the revenue count, the e-challan count has increased as compared to document registered count, especially during the 2022-21 and 2022, mainly after the pandemic, and it was itself implemented in the 2020 December. So it is quite obvious, and that as soon as it has been implemented, it has skyrocketed in popularity. So what it indicates that the people are trying to avail these opportunities due to its convenience, because they can do the registration process from anywhere, from their home as well. And the no contact activity has been particularly popular among the people since the COVID, the fear of COVID, and the government naturally should go for more digitization of the process and the paperwork, which is very fast and efficient in terms of everything, the processing as well. So and also for those districts where the rise has not been very significant, the government should actually take initiative to digitally educate those people so that they can also avail the facilities of online registration. So what the management wants us next is to categorize districts into 3 segments based on their stamp registration revenue generation during the fiscal year 21 and 22. So I have based on the maximum and minimum values of the stamp revenue, I have classified the state districts into 3 categories. So the highest category, high stamp revenue category, has been selected, has been occupied by Rangareddy only, followed by Hyderabad and Medchal Malkajgiri, and these are the other districts where some attention needs to be given regarding the economic development, so that the purchasing power of the people of these districts is increased, especially for high ticket purchases like real estate, vehicles and land. So which obviously requires registration and brings in registration revenue for the state government. Next I am going for the vehicle sales dashboard. So right off the bat, as you can see here, that the most popular form of transport in the entire state has been the motorcycles, which is again high in the states of the Rangareddy, Medchal Malkajgiri and Hyderabad. These districts are showing the highest count, because as you can see, and also the motor cars sale is also high in these districts. So what we can conclude from here is that the service and business class people basically prefers more those 4-wheelers and 2-wheelers for commutation, and as compared to that the agricultural vehicle sales has been very low. because the agriculture sector is not very prominent in these districts as compared to others. As you can see in Nalgonda, the agricultural vehicle count is comparatively more. So, and one more thing we can observe from here is that the sale of agricultural vehicles is very low as compared to the other means of transport, which is quite interesting because a good majority of the Telangana population is engaged in agriculture. So, this also raises a question on the purchasing power of these farmers, and some work definitely needs to be done and attention needs to be given in this sector as well. So, the management wants to know, is there any particular time of the year where the vehicle sales are normally high. So, these are the 4 different observations from 4 consecutive years. As you can see here that in all those years there is no particular trend, but obviously the period from June to up to the period of October is particularly favorable for sale of vehicles. Okay, so what indicates that there are several factors like weather and festivals, receipt of bonuses and introduction of new models of vehicles, which influences the purchasing decision of the consumers. And one more thing we can observe here is that the peak sale of the petrol based cars has gradually declined throughout the years. So, what we can observe from this, it has gone from 2 lakhs to approximately 1.13 or 12, yes, 1.13 or something like that. So, which indicates that there has been a decline in the popularity of the petrol based vehicles, which is good in a way because it reduces the carbon emissions, and as we know that the import of petroleum has a huge amount of pressure on the forex reserves of our country. And next is the stakeholders want to know that is there any particular preference for vehicle class in different districts of Telangana. So, the answer is obviously big yes, because as you can see here for the motor cars, as we have also observed in the dashboard itself, that the Rangareddy, Sangareddy, Medchal, Malkazgiri topped the sales, also in case of motorcycles. So, as for agricultural vehicles, the top scoring districts are Nalgonda, Siddipet and Suryapet. But as we can see again here that there has been a low peak sales of only 2599 as compared to the motorcycles and motor cars, which has reached up to 5 digits. And one more thing, as you can see here, is that the vehicle class of auto rickshaw is performing poorly in the Rangareddy, Hyderabad and other populous districts of Telangana, which needs some attention, because this can work in both ways. First, it can reduce the traffic problem in these areas, because these areas are, as we know, is highly populated. And second thing is that it can create a promising source of avenue of income and also road taxes and registration revenues for the state government. As we know that auto rickshaw and other means of transport is an excellent avenue of income for the low income and middle income people. So, this area really needs some work. And next thing, the management wants to find out that what are the top 3 and bottom 3 districts when it comes to the increase in vehicle sales in various fuel categories. So, again we can see here that there are certain particular districts where the popularity of petrol based vehicles has decreased, whereas the popularity of electric vehicles has increased tremendously, with the highest percentage increase being 409%. Okay. and consequently these areas, especially the Bhadradri, Kothagurem, Khammam, Suryapet, Mancherial, Rajana Sirsila and Vanaparthi, we can see all these districts present in all these graphs. Okay, so what it indicates that these districts can be a good market for EV vehicles, and government should think about establishing some EV manufacturing parks in this region, which can bring down the price of EV vehicles further by offering cheaper and more affordable options, and as well as it can also create obviously new job opportunities for the people in these districts. So what are the key insights we are availing from all these analysis? So the peak sales is high in the June and October, as we have already discussed. Next is that the various factors like Dashera and Diwali and the weather, because at the time of June to October the weather is particularly hot, and another point, it is very rainy. So this also influences the purchase decision of the consumers. Next is that these seasons are the peak time to launch new models of vehicles, and as well as what more we can see that the petrol based vehicles popularity have fallen, and one more thing is that the occupation of the people has a large impact on the choice of vehicles for the state of Telangana, as well as in other areas as well. So what are my personal recommendation is that the government needs to provide some easy loans and certain facilities to the farmers, so that the agricultural vehicle sector can be improved. On top of that, there are certain districts, as I have discussed earlier, that where there is a good potential for EV industry to thrive, and this industry can gradually expand to supply EV vehicles which are cost effective and efficient to the other states of India as well, which can be an excellent source of revenue for the state. And in some cases the vehicles can also be imported abroad, which can bring in forex income for the state as well. So and some areas like Rangareddy and Hyderabad, where the popularity of auto rickshaws is being very low, the government can actually encourage the use and manufacturing of electric vehicles, e-rickshaws, also called totos, which is already very popular in West Bengal and Odisha. So these vehicles can work as a eco-friendly option for transportation. It can reduce the traffic problems, at least for small distances, and it can also provide an excellent source of income for the low income, low skilled people and low income section of the society. So next comes the investment overview. So as you can see here, the large amount of investment in the last 4 years has been attracted by the real estate sector, followed by the pharmaceuticals, which is understandable because the demand for vaccines and medicines has been at all time high during the pandemic and even after that. So again in this sector as well, the districts of Rangareddy, Sangareddy and Medchal Malkajgiri has again emerged as winners. So as we can see here, the amount of investment is quite high in Rangareddy, followed by the other states, other districts, sorry. So these three districts are attracting more than 70% of the investments, which is due to the industrial growth and other factors which we shall discuss later. And yeah, so the management wants to know that which are the top 5 sectors with maximum investment in the financial year 2022? So the answer is plastic and rubber, followed by pharmaceutical and real estate. And coming to the top 3 districts, as we have mentioned earlier, that it is Rangareddy, Sangareddy and Merchal Malkajgiri. So why are these destinations specifically preferred by investors? So first of all, it is at the proximity of the capital city, and it is an urban area. So there are certain facilities and also sentiments associated with it when it comes to the price of properties and other opportunities. Second, the population is also very high due to the flocking of the service job seekers and business people, and it also has well established industrial infrastructure. Also, the state of Hyderabad, the city of Hyderabad has a importance when it comes to the cultural aspect. And the next thing is that the security systems, the security and the data speed connectivity is quite robust in these areas. And on top of that, considering all these factors, the price of real estate is quite high and the return of investment is also quite high, which encourages the investors obviously to invest in industry and specifically real estate in these areas. So next is there any relationship between district investments, vehicle sales and stamps revenue in the same district for financial year 21-22? The management wants to know. So after studying the graphs, I don't find any particular trend of relation, but however we can observe that the same districts are popping up in all the 3 readings. So which gives us the indication that yes, there is some form of correlation, may not be linear, may be non-linear, but there is some correlation between the amount of investments attracted by the region, by the districts, as well as the vehicle sales and stamps revenue. Because it is quite obvious that more investment will imply more opportunities for income, as well as the more purchasing power of the population of this state, of these districts. And on top of that, when they will have more income, more job security, they will obviously go for more high ticket purchases like real estate, land and vehicles, and which consequently will increase the revenue collection of these districts as well. Next, what are the key insights we have derived from all the 3 data sets? First is that there is a staggering economic disparity between the districts of the state, specifically between that Rangareddy Hyderabad industrial region and the other districts which are not having so much industrial investments, and which I would say will work like a double-edged sword. Why? Because on one hand there is an excessive pressure on the natural resources of this region, which is the industrial region, because of the high population density, which steadily depletes the natural beauty and other factors and also contributes to the population. Next thing is that it escalates the real estate prices of this region, which is also a burden on the paycheck of the residents of these districts, and also it eats into the coffers of the business who wants to establish their factories or offices or whatever. They have to pay high rentals for their establishments, which they are currently paying as well. And on the other hand, what happens is that in the other districts where these economic opportunities are not reaching properly, there is a elevation of the poverty levels as well as dissatisfaction among the people. So I would say that this area needs to be addressed immediately. And the next thing is that the agriculture and tourism has much more potential that is being explored right now. And the third observation we have seen here is that the electronic or green vehicle sector has been earning more and more popularity throughout the years. So this is a very good thing when it comes to establishing new manufacturing units and addressing the air pollution problem of the state. On top of that, the real estate and chemical sectors have attracted maximum investments, whereas the sector of agriculture, tourism and food processing is quite low, which needs attention, because the agriculture is an important economic sector of the state of Telangana. So it is quite sad that the investment is quite low in these sectors. Coming next, if I am asked that what are the top 5 districts which I would prefer for commercial property purchase, so my obvious answer will be Rangareddy, Sangareddy, Medchal, Malkazgiri, because I have already discussed the reasons that there is a high demand of business properties and as well as residential properties because of the high density of people going around there for jobs and other opportunities. And next I have chosen Mehboob and Nalgonda. Why? Because Nalgonda has a prolific economy of agriculture. So if I prefer to buy agricultural land, the land is very fertile and the people are very much inclined to agriculture. So if I am interested in investment in agricultural land, I would prefer these two districts. So now comes the most brainstorming part, that what are the initiatives that can be taken in different sectors in the next 5 years for the economic growth. First comes the agricultural sector. So in the agricultural sector of Telangana, the water shortage is a major problem which has been addressed continuously by the state government by projects like Kakatiya. So on top of that, I would personally suggest that the state government should really consider following the Israel model of water conservation and educate the people regarding the drip irrigation and recycling of sewage water for the agricultural purpose. So as we know that paddy is the staple crop of Telangana, which is a very high water intensive crop, and studies have shown that use of drip irrigation can reduce the water requirement up to 60 to 75% and increase the productivity of paddy to up to 35%. So the government should really take initiatives to educate the farming population regarding these drip irrigation processes, which again comes to the requirement of providing technical know-how assistance to the farmers, which will boost their productivity. And one more sector the state can explore is encouraging organic farming among the farmers, because first of all it is very good for the soil of the state, and the second thing is that the organic farming products have rising in popularity in the international markets, and this can command a really good price if produced in large amounts in abroad and enhance the economic state of the farming population. Next thing is that the government can give impetus to the agricultural vehicle sector by providing easy loans and leases to the farmers, so that they can acquire the agricultural vehicles like tractors and trollers, which will obviously increase their productivity, and it will have a domino effect on the other sectors as well, like chemical fertilizers and obviously the agricultural vehicle sectors, and also contribute largely to the state revenue. The next thing is that the agricultural byproducts like rice bran and other things should also be encouraged, so that it can also contribute to the income of the state. Okay, So coming to the industrial front, so here are a few suggestions I would give to the state government of Telangana, so that the industrial sector can be improved, which currently stands at 21% of GDP. So as we have observed that certain areas of Telangana are experiencing vibrant industrialization, whereas the other districts are lagging behind, which is also affecting the opportunities and purchasing power and as well as the per capita income of the population of those districts. So the state government can likely do is that demarcate the some other less popular districts as special economic zones, wherein the companies will be encouraged to establish their units and offices by offering them certain rebates in taxes and price of land and so on and so forth, along with providence of cheap labor and technology, so that the companies are inclined to establish their units in those areas. So this is specifically applicable for the borderline districts of the state, because as we know that if we look at the map of Telangana, Telangana is no doubt surrounded on or by all the land, and there is no seaport, which is an obvious disadvantage when it comes to export thing. But one more advantage is that all the states surrounding Telangana are very economically vibrant, like Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, and these areas are also very rich in mineral resources. So Telangana is strategically posted in such a way that it can act as a freight corridor to all the states. So next thing I would suggest is that the Telangana government might consider taking up the e-commerce logistic business, and where it can provide a good chain of storage of e-commerce products and a very vibrant transportation network, because as recent studies suggest that the price of the goods is considerably increased due to the transportation humdrums of the products, and the products are also very late to reach from business to the consumers. So Telangana government can work on these problems and address the e-commerce, give e-commerce solutions to the people all around its neighboring states, and earn some revenue out of it. Second thing is that due to certain geopolitical factors, many attractive business are going working out of China. So the state government can take some real initiatives to attract those companies to establish their units in the state of Telangana, because these companies are being attracted to India because of its a good market and skilled technical population. And on top of that, the iron and steel industry is still very unexplored despite its high iron and coal reserves in the areas of Khammam and Karimnagar. So these two districts are very suitable for establishing iron and steel industry. On top of that, the government might consider exploring the steel recycling industry, which can make up for the less amount of iron ore and also contribute to the environment and produce good quality, low cost products of steel. Currently, as we can the study suggests that there has been only 22% of recycling of the net steel production in India, the net steel scrap, I mean to say. So majority of the steel scraps can come from the vehicle and shipbuilding industry, and they can be easily recycled in the most effective way to produce new products in a cost effective manner. Third thing is that, as I have already discussed, is the EV vehicle manufacturing industry that government can establish in the state and also attract investors and companies from other parts of India and also other parts of the world. to establish their units in the state, and this can work as a domino effect to provide employment and also reduce the carbon emission of the entire state. Next is, what are the PR and branding strategies? This is specifically important when a state wants to attract investments. So, what I would suggest is that there should be specifically for the tourism sector and the cultural sector, the social media promotion can really be effective in attracting investments and as well as tourists into the state. So, personally I would suggest Mr. Allu Arjun as the cultural brand ambassador of the state, who also happens to be a denizen of Hyderabad, and recently his popularity has skyrocketed and he has also won a national award. So, he is the most suitable candidate if the state wants to appoint a cultural ambassador. And as for tourism, the beautification and promotion of places can be done with viral Instagram reels from travel bloggers, which is a very cost effective way to promote tourism. And coming to investments and policies, it is also important to publicize those policies so that the investors and other entrepreneurs are attracted to the state. So, for this purpose I have chosen these two influencers, Dhruv Rathi and Mr. Ganesh Prasad Sridharan. Why I have chosen them is because they have a millions of followers both on YouTube and Instagram, and their main population or main target audience, so to say, is the intellectual and entrepreneurial young people of India and also abroad. So, they can be used, or similar influencers can be used to promote the development and policies of Telangana government. And one more thing is that the personal image of the key lawmakers also plays a very important role, because what it does is that it instills a sense of confidence and openness for the investors, specifically if they are out of the state or even abroad. So, if we look at the Gujarat model, we cannot deny the fact that he is the repo of Mr. Narendra Modi with the top business tycoons, as well as his brand image has created a very big effect on the investment model of Gujarat and also its development. So, last but not the least, in the era of digital transactions, the state can really open up an investment portal for those small and medium investors who may not be seasoned business people, but nevertheless they might be interested in the economic development or infrastructure of the state of Telangana. So, next comes the tourism and culture. So, for this purpose I have picked up basically these three districts like Adilabad, which has very beautiful scenarios and majestic waterfalls. Also Warangal, which has the relics of the Kakatiya dynasty. Also Bhadrachalam, which has very beautiful ancient temples. So, these areas can be developed as bustling tourist destinations by beautifications, and one more thing that can be done is that those districts where the natural beauty and forestry is very high, the state can initiate some eco-friendly resorts as well as residential projects, because there are many high net worth individuals all over the India and who are very much interested to live in the lap of nature while availing all amenities of life and good connectivity. So, this can really attract some investment in the real estate sector. On top of that, these destinations can be popularized through Instagram reels and travel vlogging, YouTube as well. So, this is a very cost effective way to promote tourism, and the excellent work has been done by the Kerala tourism department in this sphere. So that's it for today. I want to extend my special thanks to Mr. Dhawal Patel, Shruti ma'am and the entire Code Basics team, as well as the Telangana government officials for taking their time to evaluate my work. And okay, that's it. Thank you. Jai Hind.